So, got another question here. This one's a long one. We're gonna have to scroll a little bit. It says Justin's dad claims that taking piano lessons will help Justin get into an Ivy League school one day. Justin decides to try to prove his dad wrong by interviewing a randomly selected sample of college-educated adults. Justin asked them whether they attended an Ivy League school and also whether they took piano lessons as a child. The relative frequency table below shows his results. Okay, interviewed 9 randomly selected adults who went to an Ivy League school but did not take piano lessons. Okay, so having done these questions before, don't be tricked up here. So the number 9, that's not the people who went to an Ivy League school. That's not the total. That's the number of adults who attended an Ivy League school but did not take piano lessons. So that's a very specific part of the table that we're going to look at here. So I know that, sorry for that, I know that 9 people, 9 is going to represent what number? It's the Ivy League people that, let me look back just to make sure I have this right. I think Ivy League, no piano. Justin interviewed 9 randomly selected students who attended an Ivy League school but did not take piano lessons. So if I'm looking at the total percentages here, Ivy League, no piano lessons. If I'm looking at the totals, I'm looking at the 6.25. So this specific part of the table is representing the people who went to an Ivy League school but did not take piano lessons. In total, that was 6.25% of the population. So if I think of the total size, I'm going to kind of do this a little backwards. So if I had the total and I wanted to find 6.25%, I would multiply that by 0.0625. Oops, 0.0625. That is 6.25% as a decimal, 0.0625. So if I did take my total and I multiplied it by 0.0625, that would give me 9. Now I don't know what my total is, but I could do a little algebra, right? I could kind of move this equation around. I could divide both sides by 0.0625. So that's going to give me my total. My total, if I solve for the total, it's going to be 9 divided by 0.0625. This is going to give me the total amount of people in the study, in this data. And that number is going to help, I think. All right, so let's get that on the calculator. 9 divided by 0.0625. That's going to give me 144. Nice, perfect square. So there's 144 people in the in this data set. So I'm going to write that down. 144. That's the total. That number will probably come in handy. Let me erase some of this. So question says, how many adults in Justin's survey took piano lessons? Well, this will be easier to answer now that we know there's 144 total. So we want the number of adults who took piano. So it says piano lessons. So if I'm looking at this total, it'll go all the way to the bottom. So my column total. So for piano lessons, that was 25% of total people. 75% did not take piano lessons. So I need to find 25% of 144. Let's show a calculator. 144 times 0.25. So that should be 36. Love these perfect squares. 36. That is 25% of 144. And what I want to do is, it asks here, does the table show evidence of an association between not taking piano lessons and not attending an Ivy League school? It's kind of confusing to think about. Let's read the table. Is there an association between piano lessons and going to an Ivy League school? So similar to the Titanic data, we want to kind of like isolate the different columns or rows. So let's think about this. So if you took piano lessons, let's look at this column. If you took piano lessons, what's the chance you went to an Ivy League school? So this is Ivy League. So for this column, out of all the piano lesson people, 8.3% of the column went to an Ivy League school. So out of the people that took piano lessons, 8.3% went to an Ivy League school. Let's compare this to no piano lessons. Out of the people that took no piano lessons, this column, it says column percent, 8.3. So it looks like whether you took piano lessons or not, there was about an 8.3% chance you went to an Ivy League school. And there's another number here in the table that kind of supports that. If I look at the total, so if I look at Ivy League total here, 8.3% of people in total went to an Ivy League school. So it makes sense that out of the piano people and non-piano people, that number held at 8.3%. So it doesn't really matter whether you took lessons or not. There's an 8.3% chance you went to an Ivy League school. So I'm going to use that information to help answer, pick a multiple choice selection here. Choose all answers that apply. So I could choose up to all of them, I guess, theoretically. So is there an association? We think no. So I'm going to first look at the no's. I'm going to look at B, C, and E because I don't think that it's yes. I'm going to look at no because 75% of people who did not attend an Ivy League school did not take piano lessons, and 75% of all people did not take piano lessons. This is quite the mouthful, difficult to comprehend. Let's read it again. 75% of people who did not attend an Ivy League school did not take piano lessons. So if you did not attend an Ivy League school, that would be, let's get a shape here, not Ivy League. It says if you did not attend an Ivy League school, and I like that, the row percentage. So out of the not Ivy League, it's true, 75% did not take piano lessons. In the whole population, sorry. In the whole population, let's look at total. 75% did not take piano lessons. So those numbers are the same. So it doesn't matter whether you took sorry, am I getting this right? It doesn't matter whether you went to an Ivy League school or not. If you didn't go to an Ivy League school, there was still a 75% chance you did not take piano lessons. Even if you did go to an Ivy League school, there's a 75% chance you didn't take piano lessons. So I like that with showing us that it really doesn't matter whether you went to an Ivy League school or not, still a 75% chance you're taking piano lessons. So I'm going to go with B. C says no, because 91.7% of people who did not take piano lessons did not attend an Ivy League school. I'm not sure why we'd be comparing these numbers. The 75 could be compared with this 75 because it's showing that if you didn't go to an Ivy League school, 75% chance no lessons. And it's smarter to look at the 25%, but the question is asking us to look at the 75%. And you should compare the 75 to the 75. This 91.7, what should we compare this to? It's a column percentage. So it's saying out of the no piano lessons, 91.7% chance you were not Ivy League. Out of piano lessons, same thing. If you took piano lessons, there's still a 91.7% chance that you're not Ivy League. So what I'm saying is evidence, but C is not evidence that there's no association. I think C is talking about different things. All right, let's look at E. No, because I think this is what I was just saying. 91.7% of people who didn't take piano lessons did not attend an Ivy, and 91% of all people, did not attend an Ivy. That's true. So in the whole population, I hope it's true. In the whole population, 91.7% of people did not attend an Ivy League school. Let's circle that. That's here. So out of the total percentage, 91.7% did not attend an Ivy League school, and that was the same whether you took piano lessons or not. If you took piano lessons or if you didn't, there's still a 91.7% chance you did not attend an Ivy League school. So I think this also supports that there's no trend. That was wild. We got this. All right, so this says, let's hope this is easy breezy. Jake just learned to identify the difference between an oak tree and a maple tree. Good for you, Jake. He was curious about the concentration of trees in his neighborhood. So he went out and identified several trees that were either by the pond or in the field. Unfortunately, he smudged his data tables and can't read some of the values. Oh, goodness. The absolute and relative frequency tables below show Jake's salvage data. Can you help him figure out the rest? Sure hope so. All right. So we have data on whether it's an oak tree or a maple tree, and whether it's by the field, whether it's by the pond. So there's only a few numbers we need to fill in here. There's 4 numbers. And the first I'm kind of looking at is the field. So I don't know how many total there were in the field, but I might be able to figure that out. So what I'm going to do is look at the maple. And what I know is that 44 out of the maple, there were 44 maples by the pond. So if I look at the maple and the column percentage, so those 44 trees represent 46.32% of all maples. So what I'm going to do is figure out what the total amount of maples is. So similar to what we did last time, I'm going to do 44 divided by 0.4632. This is going to give me the total number of maples, which is 95. That helps a lot because now I know 44 plus this missing number is 95. So that's going to be, is that 51? 51. 51 plus 44 is 95. So that's how I got that 51. The 95 comes from knowing that the total amount of maple trees is 95. Okay, from here, this actually lets us fill everything else in. There's no more percentage math necessary. So in the field, there were 40 plus 51 is 91 trees. And now in total, hopefully these 74 plus 91 adds up to the same as 70 plus 95. 70 plus 95 is a little easier. That's 165. And that is the same as 91 plus 74. You can always check that. 91 plus 74. 165. All right. So we only really needed to figure out that 95. And the way we did that was we knew that 44 was 46.32% of all the maples. That's how we knew there's 95 maples, and that let us fill in everything else. So X still needs to be solved for. Oh, let's do that. We ran into that earlier. So X is here. Circle it. So X is out of the total, what percent were pond? So that was 74 in the pond out of 165 total. 74 out of 165. So I'm going to do 74 divided by 165. So that's going to give us as a percentage 44.8, and I'll round it to 85. So 44.85. So I think it's going to give that to us. Thank goodness. All right, so have fun. I hope this helps.